Okay, 6th graders, we're back for our round 2 of Edmodo notes. This time we're using metric volume. I thought the mac and cheese box might catch your attention, but the reason I have a box on here is that we're talking about volume, and volume is the amount of space that an object takes up. The whole amount of space. So this macaroni and cheese box, typically I would have you measure just the length of it, up and down, or across this way, you know, what's the width of the cheese box, but that's only telling me about the front cover. If I want the volume of this box, I need the front cover, how much space the side cover takes up, the back, the bottom, the top, and also the inside, how much total space that this object takes up, and that is what volume is. And so I've got a variety of boxes here. Again, if I want the whole volume, I need the volume of the lid, the box, and the inside. And that is what volume is. When you do it in math, you measure the length, the width, and the height, and that's finding the volume. For liquids, though, we're going to measure things in liters. And a liter, so here's our liquid, a liter is the metric unit for volume, just like the meter was the metric unit for length. And I know the numbers are hard to see, but this is one of my largest beakers that I have. And if I zoom in here, you can see I have the water line at 1,000 milliliters. Think about it. There's 1,000 millimeters in a meter stick. There are 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. So this is what 1 liter of liquid would look like. It's a pretty big amount. It's hard for me to pick it up with one hand. And this is about half of a 2 liter of pop, half of it. So that's what 1 liter, what we're going to use for volume. But solid volume, how do we can't write in liters. I can't measure this. I can't put this in a beaker and measure it in liters or milliliters. And so for solid volume, this is letter C on your notes. Solid volume, you're either going to measure in meters cubed or in centimeters cubed. And if you're in my first or second period class, you're going to need to add that little number 3 next to your meter and centimeter on your notes. I forgot to write it in before I printed it off, but cubed. And what that means is you're simply measuring 3 sides of something. So I'm measuring, okay, this way, the height, I'm measuring the length, and I'm also measuring the width. So I need all 3 items. That's what that cubed is for, telling me that I'm measuring 3 things. You cannot take up the same amount of space as another person or an object. So this box is taking up its own space, and nothing else is in that space right now, not even air. The air has moved around it, and that box is taking up its own space. The volume of liquids are measured by their volume. Okay, you can't measure the length, the width, and the height of this with a ruler. It just doesn't work because liquids move around. They're not stationary. And I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but you can't really see it here, maybe on some of my cylinders up here, but when liquids are in a container, the edges kind of creep up the sides just a little bit. I don't know if you can see it with my pointer here, but these 2 edges here are slightly higher than the actual reading. There it is. It kind of looks like a little smile, and we'll try it on another one. There's just a slight little curve of the water line. I made it blue to see if we could see it a little better. That is called the meniscus. And the meniscus is, I just call it a little smile, a water smile. Here's another one. You always want to read the bottom. So down here, the bottom part of the smile is the meniscus. And it's slightly bowed, but you have to look at the bottom of it. And this is caused from surface tension. It causes a slight curvature or bend of that water line. And in a liquid, any liquid that's in a container will do this. So in a measuring cup, your milk in your cereal bowl will do this. So check it out when you go home. You're going to see this little slight curve. But when we read these, you want to read the very bottom. And to do that, you cannot be standing. So I'm going to stand up. I can't see the bottom from here. This is a bad angle. You need to squat down and get it eye level and hold this thing right up to your eyeballs so that you can read that meniscus. Now, for a solid, actually, I'm going to have you pause me now and turn your note sheet over. I want you to practice measuring the 3 meniscuses that I put on the back of your sheet. So pause me and then come back and we'll keep going. Okay, if you're back, the 3 on the back of your sheet, so again, these 3 here on the back of your notes, they should be read as 56, 16 and a half or 16 and 3/4 I would take, and the final one, letter C, is 76. I don't think the numbers are going to clear up much after that, but you've practiced those. Now we're ready to move on. I'm going to talk about the volume of a solid. So again, I have a bunch of boxes out, and solids are length times width times height. The three numbers multiplied together, and then your unit will be centimeters or meters with that little cube or the number 3 by it, because you've measured 3 sides. Again, I'm going to have